bug them to take my outfit photos every day. So I would literally get all dressed up for our like class with 15 people, and I would go and I'd ask random people on the street to take my photo, and I would post like
that is dedication.
No, it's dedication. But I grew like 50,000 followers in 3 weeks.
I guess like the first thing I want to get into, just to give people a background on you, is how did you even start out on Instagram?
Okay, so I remember downloading Instagram. I grew up in Orange County in Newport Beach. And I remember when Instagram came out, I like downloaded it. We were at my friend's beach house, and I was like, oh my God, this is like the coolest app ever. And I actually just changed my handle from that day. So this is a decade ago, like 2 days ago. My first time I ever changed my handle.
Wait, what was your original handle?
It was Ella Rose. And now I was like, my team was like, I think you need to just, it had an extra A because Ella Rose was like taken. So it was like Ella Rose. And I changed it to Ella Rose McFadin. And they're like, it looks a little like more elevated and you're a founder now.
Chic,
like,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, probably it's time.
It's a little grown
But
up,
I felt like so tied to it because I was like, it was so long. Like, I mean, I've had that account for so long. I wasn't like an influencer back then, but I like slowly started getting a following while I was in high school. And when I say a following, I mean like a couple thousand. I was posting, literally going out to like lunch with my friends, going to get like pressed juicery, my outfits on the weekend. And then I got accepted to Boulder. I went to school in Colorado for college, CU. And I remember in my dorm room, I hit 10K and I was like, okay, this is like kind of a thing. That was when 10K was like kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I was wearing like all of the little game day outfits. And like, I think when you go to a school like that where people are coming from all over, it was a really, really big college. There was like a few other girls who were like doing it too. So we became friends. We would all post together. And I think we all kind of like grew our followings. But it wasn't to like become an influencer. Like it was just for fun. Like we were like, this is so cool. Like, I think I maybe got like a free t-shirt and was like, this is like sent to my apartment, like a game day shirt that someone made for me off of Etsy. And I was like, this is so cool. Like I'm literally a celebrity.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's when I was like, okay, this is like, has something to it. I don't know what it'll be. But I went abroad and I was like dedicated to the Instagram game. I was like, I'm going to post twice a day. And I went abroad with 2 friends and I like didn't want to bug them to take my outfit photos every day. So I would literally get all dressed up for our like class with 15 people. And I would go and I'd ask random people on the street to take my photo. And I would post like
that is dedication.
No, it's dedication. But I grew like 50,000 followers in 3 weeks.
Wait,
like,
where did you go?
Italy. I was in Rome.
Well, of course. I mean,
it was so beautiful
iconic
there. And I was posting all the food and I was posting so much, which like I don't even post that much now. And then I went back to school for a couple of years and I was graduating and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't know that like being an influencer was a job. And I don't think at the time it really was. So I didn't know where to go after school. My sister had just been accepted to NYU. So I was like, okay, I'm going to move to New York. But, and I had probably just under 100,000 followers, maybe like 60 or 70,000 followers. I was like, I'm going to move to New York. I'm going to get a full-time job. And I had gotten like my first brand deal with, I think it was with Dolce Vita, the shoe brand, which is so funny. I actually have to post an ad for them today. But I remember being like, oh my gosh, like, it was like a good amount of money. Like a good amount of money to me at that time. I had never had
like, oh my gosh. Like when you're graduating college.
Yeah, I was like, I could book a flight with this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this is like whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to move to New York. I like found some friends from my hometown that I could live with for a few weeks. And I was like, in that few weeks, I'm going to get like an actual like big girl job. So I came here, had interviews, and I ended up working a corporate job. So I worked at Gucci, their corporate office.
Wait, that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that was like my dream.
Yeah.
Like when I like got the interview was like the most intimidating interview ever. I was like so prepared. I had my business like casual outfit on, and I was doing like a bunch of other interviews, but like Gucci was like the one I was like really excited for. And I ended up getting the role. I was like a client relations assistant. It was basically planning brand experiences, like influencer trips for their high-end customers. So like instead of for influencers, it was for their customers that like spend a ton of money at Gucci every year. So it's like interesting because I'm like, now I like go on these trips, but before I was like planning them.
And you like know the behind the scenes.
And I was like facing the clientele. So I was like, I mean, I was literally opening their car doors, shutting their car doors, opening the doors for them, asking if like what kind of milk they wanted. Like it was very much like that. And it was fun because it was a desk job, but like I did get those experiences in it. But then COVID came around and I was laid off from the job. It was like a pause, furlough. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this influencing thing. I knew people now that were making money from it who I had been like friends with before. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for this full time. Gave it a year and it went really well. And I was like, cool, I'm an influencer now.
So when you first started like taking it seriously, was it still like fashion and beauty? Like, was that still your niche?
Yes. I think like up until the past year or two, it's been like really heavily focused on fashion and beauty. And still now, I think people would say they follow me for fashion, but I would call myself a lifestyle influencer.
Yeah, I feel like you're definitely lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, I think like as someone who lands on, I think it's really interesting because I think that someone's kind of like career as an influencer definitely evolves. And like, I think that your OG followers will think of you as like, I think the niche that you started out in, but then obviously you evolve and it like kind of, it's more lifestyle. And now obviously you've kind of become a founder as well. So you've like added that to the list of things that you work on as well, which is really cool.
Yeah. And it's like I share all of it. And I do feel like my content is my life. Like it is like the lifestyle. Like I'm sharing my day to day. So it all kind of plays into it. And that's where it's changed.
Okay, so I have a question. You, while working at Gucci and like doing the role that you had, which I think in so many ways, like at least from my perception, is so relevant to, I'm guessing, like things that you do as a founder. So would you say like that it did have, like I guess like what you learned at Gucci also had like a direct impact?
Oh my gosh, not even to yes, as a founder, but also as an influencer.
Yeah.
Like I think that job was like the biggest wake up call in my life because I went from, you know, going to classes all the like being in school, not having a job at all, smoking weed, like not giving a shit, moving to New York, and then being like, you have to be in the office from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday. I remember after the first day I went home and I called my dad. I was like, so I have to do this again tomorrow? And he was like, yep. And the next day and the day after, I was just like, I couldn't even believe I was there at that desk for like that long doing, like, it was crazy to me. So I think that experience played a lot into me being an influencer. My manager would say now, she's like, I can feel it as one of my talent. Like you just have that experience of like a corporate desk job.
I think it's actually like really valuable experience.
Extremely.
Because like I'm like similar background to you, whereby it's not that I worked in an office job for a long time, but I had 2 solid years, and I feel like it just taught me this level of like organization and rigor that, I mean, when you work for yourself, I think unless you have that either innately in you or you've like learned it from elsewhere, it's difficult to understand that you still have to structure your day and all of that.
Yeah. Even like just like simple things of like how to, you know, handle a meeting or email etiquette or things like that like I thought I knew from school, which they should do a course on all of that. I didn't know anything. And like that helped me so much in my career as an influencer.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm forever grateful that I had that because I look back and it also makes me more grateful to like be my own boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like really, really valuable experience.
Yeah. I'm so grateful I like did that. Even though it was like so brutal. I would like cry in bathrooms and be like, I need this day to end. But it was cool. And I loved that I could be like, yeah, I worked at Gucci.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super cool. And I think also it like, not that you don't have legitimacy if you don't have like an office job ahead of that, but I don't know. I think it like builds your character a little bit.
Definitely.
You know, you go through like some tough shit.
For sure.
Okay, so talk to me about your brand. Like, how did that come about? Where did the idea come from? Because you were doing well, obviously, as an influencer. That was your career. Tell me about this evolution.
Okay, yeah. So I think there's a bit of backstory that a lot of people don't know, which I always knew I wanted to start a brand. Both of my parents are super entrepreneurial. They actually had a successful record label together. My dad still runs it. They divorced, so it's his company now. But I think I always grew up with like that in me, and I knew I wanted to have my own brand and my own company. And I always knew that not always, but I think I learned early on as an influencer with like the amount of gifting and like that we get. I was like, I cannot have a clothing brand. Like I was like, I cannot get into like reinventing myself every year with like new product drops. And also I just think I was like getting so many clothes in the mail. I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like I felt icky about it.
Hold. Wolf, do you have water by any chance? Oh my God. I'm like now recovered from this like deathly cough that I had.
Everyone's so sick.
What is going on?
No, people are saying,
do you want one
like,
as well?
Sure, I'll have one. Neurovirus. Everyone's getting neurovirus.
Yeah, the food poisoning.
I don't know. This girl was like, I couldn't move my body for 30 hours. I was terrified.
Yeah, it's like apparently this like deathly like stomach issue. But my gosh, like so I got whatever this is. It's like I got a respiratory virus while I was in France, of all places.
Oh my God.
I was like, no one's safe I was in a ski town. Like, what the heck?
Where?
Courchevel.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
when?
We went from the 26th of December into the 3rd of Jan.
Oh my God,
we go every year.
Yeah.
For like years now. I think this was our 5th year or something. But yeah, I got sick there like the day after New Year's Eve. And then it took me 2 weeks to recover. And then there's still this like lingering cough that comes up every now and then.
I was so sick on Christmas too. Like I couldn't get out of bed the whole
Awful.
day. Yeah.
Absolutely awful. Okay. Getting back. So you were saying that you like reinventing yourself with fashion with all the
Yeah. So I actually had the brand idea, I think it was even before I hit 100K. So like it was like actually really early on, which people don't know because we just relaunched it in January. But I've had some, like the OGs who followed me for a while definitely know. So I had this idea that I really wanted a brand. And actually my old boss, who I really, really respected and looked up to at Gucci, she left the company right before COVID, got a new job outside of fashion, working for this company that ended up at the time didn't help influencers launch brands, but now, or like anyone launch brands. So she kind of reached out to me. She was like, we have this idea. We'd love for you to kind of be like our guinea pig. And I was like, this sounds great. Like I've always wanted to launch a brand. I spoke to her about doing a clean beauty brand and she was like, we can make it happen. It all happened like really fast. And at the time, like I had no idea what I was doing, but I like have always loved blush. Like I remember being a kid and like, you know, when you're like not allowed to wear makeup yet, like you weren't allowed to wear makeup to school. Like I don't know when it switches, but there's a time where like you would even get in trouble at school if you like were wearing makeup, you know. But I would go into my mom's makeup or like bathroom in the morning, and she always had like a really fluffy blush brush, and I would always take like whatever was left on the end of the blush brush from her doing it and like put it on my face really quickly before. So I always have this like nostalgia of like loving blush and like it making me feel like so good, even if it was like just quickly using like the end of my mom. So I was like, okay, I want to start there. So we developed a formula. We worked with like a company in New York and we came out with 2 colors of the blush and it did super well. So this was like when I was still managing myself as an influencer. It was really early on and I had like launched the brand. People were really loving it. But at the same time, my influencer career was growing and I was about to sign with my management, which I'm with DBA, which I know is like correlated with Dear Media. Are you with DBA? Okay. So when I was signing with them, they kind of were like, I had the brand before, thank God. I'm like so happy that I had this idea before signing, but they were like, we want a piece of the pie. And I kind of proved myself to them and I focused on my influencer career for like the next couple of years. And once I was able to prove myself as that, I was able to like get it out of my contract and really focus on me like doing this brand. I felt like I was ready to come back to the brand and I knew I wanted to like reformulate, leave the company I started with. And I ended up hiring someone who's like helped me for the past 2.5 years reformulate, restructure the whole brand and then relaunch in July. So that's kind of how it all started and where there was like a pause in between the two things.
So tell me about the blush shades and like also, I mean, you have like the best like no makeup.
Oh my God. Thank you. I mean, you too. I feel like you would like love the products. It's for the inspiration. Like when we were reformulating and going through this, like I asked myself many times, like, why do you want to do this? And I think as an influencer, I was watching so many other creators online on TikTok, or I mean before TikTok, even like YouTube makeup tutorials, do these makeup looks, and then me trying to like replicate them and hating how I looked when I would do it. I was doing like these crazy winged eyeliners or like eyeshadow looks or things that I just like thought was cool because I was seeing all of these creators, these like super talented creators like do these makeup looks, and then not liking how I looked on myself. And then I was like, okay, there's a niche of people who like love just this. I mean, of course, a lot of people like this like no makeup look, but there's a group of people who like feel so much more confident and the less is more. And I wanted to like speak on that more. And that's what like inspired all of our products.
That's really cool. And I completely agree with you. I think that, you know, I agree. Like I've never been a person whose face can handle a ton of makeup. Like I remember like 2015, 2016, like that era of like really fun, like really heavy makeup, like the cut crease and the colors. I think it's so incredible. And those creators are literal artists. But, like it's insane.
It takes such a level of talent.
It really does. But anytime I would try it, it was just like not for my face, I feel like. And like, don't get me wrong. Like I love like, you know, playing around with like a smoky eye or whatever when we're going out at night. But like outside of that on a day-to-day basis, like I'm very much like a less is more. Like this is what what I consider full face, like what I have on right now.
Me too.
So on a day-to-day basis, like all I want is like blush, some concealer, brow gel, like lip, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So I think like a brand like yours really does speak to that kind of consumer, which is important.
Yeah. And the amount and the response, I feel like when we launched and like kind of like played a lot into that messaging was like so overwhelming. Like so many girls were like, yeah, I actually like don't wear makeup at all, but I tried these products and like, oh my gosh, I felt like just a little bit better leaving the house today.
Oh, I love that.
It was so special.
It's always so rewarding to hear that as a founder. I feel like it's like the most validating, fulfilling thing.
Yeah. That and like now our TikTok, like I love going on and seeing our TikTok has like 10 followers, but I go on and look at our mentions and like now in the day of TikTok, like our customers are our creators. Like they are doing all of these makeup routines, and that is like the most rewarding thing of it all is like watching them use it all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the best thing ever. So as you've kind of transitioned from like creator to, I would say, like multi-hyphenate, because now you have a brand as well. What's that transition been like? Like, has it been challenging? How's your day evolved?
Yeah, I think it's been exciting. It's been challenging. And I've never been as busy as I've been, which I love. Like, I do love being busy. I think managing where I spend my time has been something I'm, like, working through and, like, currently really working through. And, like, I think I need to delegate more is where I'm at right now. But the, like, initial full-time influencer to influencer and entrepreneur was, like, you can stay really busy as an influencer because you can go to the Aloe gym and do your workouts. You can do your brand deals through the day. You can meet and shoot content. Like, you can keep your schedule as busy as you want. But then as an entrepreneur, you are taking meetings all the time. You're absolutely glued to the back end of Shopify. You're glued to your email at all times. And you're running the operational side of the business, which is 24/7. So I think that transition is something that was difficult, but also that people don't realize. Like, people think I'm going to start a brand or I'm going to do this. And like, this girl did it so effortlessly. She's an influencer who did it. Like, they're not showing.
It's never effortless. Like, it is, starting a company is literally like the most effort you'll put into anything. It's insane.
And you probably, I think as an influencer too, like, it's going to take a lot longer to like see the rewards than it would as just being a content creator and doing brand deals.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, especially what's interesting is like, I think no matter what field you're in, right? Like as someone who's like a successful influencer, it's interesting to start something brand new and see that like it's a slower build. And what you're used to is like, okay, like you're already like doing so well. It's almost like instant gratification. Whereas when you're starting something from scratch, you don't know how it's going to do. It's obviously like a whole new set of challenges that you may have never even like imagined, you know? So I think it's like, it's tough.
Yeah, it definitely is tough. I mean, it's been the best thing ever, but I think a lot of people don't, like, people share their behind the scenes. It's not really the behind the scenes. You don't know. And like how long things take. Like, if you want to start a brand, like, start now.
Literally.
Because it's going to take so long to even launch, you know?
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. But also, you know, it's funny because I agree. I don't think the behind the scenes of anything, like of building a business, is like properly shown. But then I was like, how do you show this shit?
No.
Like, what? Me on calls for, you know, 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then like,
and then you're just, everyone's saying, oh, well, you're just showing how hard you work. Like, yeah.
And like, how do you even?
No, you can't.
Yeah. And also I think like when you're dealing with kind of an issue, like a problem that you're wanting to solve, your job is to solve it. Like, you can't exactly show that.
No.
So it's like, I wonder as well, I'm like, what is the right balance of like, you know, because when it's the highs, it's easy to show.
Yeah.
But when it's challenges, you're just like in action mode almost.
For sure. The last thing you're thinking about is like documenting or like sharing that or
Literally our videographer, bless his heart, he has to put up with my shit. But I'm like, when something's going wrong, I'm like, Kiva, just like get the fuck out of my face. Like, I don't need this right now. Or like, you know, like it'll be like I'm in the middle of something and then my socials team's like, okay, like time to film. And I'm like, no, please, no.
Yeah, no. I think filming when I just can't. I can't film if I'm in a bad mood.
It's tough.
It's so hard. I told myself I was going to do, I'm like not as big on TikTok, but I was like trying to be.
I love your TikTok. I think it's so fun. I think it's like so much personality.
Thanks. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I think January, I told myself, like, so last January, I was like, I'm going to do a daily vlog every day in January. And I did it. And then I was like, cool, I'm like done with TikTok for the year. And then this January, I was like, okay, I'm going to post 2 TikToks a day. They don't need to be vlogs, so they don't need to take up my whole day. But like, I'm going to try and post 2 a day. I didn't end up posting 2 a day, but I did post a lot more. And in a lot of those, like coming up with ideas and trying different videos, I shared a lot more personality, which I think we'll go back into when you were going to ask about how much do you share of yourself online. But the response has been really good. So I'm like, I should keep it up.
I like it. And I it's interesting because when I see your Instagram, because that's obviously like where I landed first.
Yeah.
And then like literally yesterday while I was on the plane, I was like, is she on TikTok? Let me find her. And then I was like, it's interesting because I think Instagram is such a curated platform that sometimes people don't get to see how like funny or goofy or silly someone is, or just like how much personality they have. So I love your TikToks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I grew up in the time of like the aesthetic influencer. So I feel like I'm just like still have that mindset, you know?
I mean,
sometimes.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's like hard to kind of break out of that. I know, like me too. You know, it's just
do you like doing TikTok?
So it took me a really long time to get into it, but it was like I was kind of going through this creative rut when it came to Instagram because I was like I don't have time to shoot this aesthetic content. Like I really didn't. It was like the array was just growing so freaking fast. And so I was like, okay, like let me try TikTok. I just needed like a creative outlet. And so I was like, okay, like I'm just going to show up and talk on camera about like whatever the hell I want. And then I fell in love with it. I was like, this is so fun. And you can just like, it's like a completely different community. I feel like it's just funnier.
Oh, way funnier.
So I don't know. I feel like it's a different side of my content and my creativity. And I feel like I have TikTok to thank for like getting me out of my creative rut again. So I love it. And I also think it made me less precious about how content is supposed to look, which is honestly a relief.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is how things have evolved. Like people, like, yes, like aesthetic content, like I grew up in that. That's kind of how I've known social media, but I also think it's evolved. And so I think like being on a platform like TikTok and just like, you know, just talking about whatever the hell comes into my brain and being like less curated, I think it's just like retrained my brain a little bit.
I think I'm trying to train myself right now because like I think we all have these thoughts or these things we want to share and being like, oh, that's actually a good one to like put on TikTok.
100%.
So I'm getting into that like, okay, these ideas. I saw like I literally was scrolling through my FYP the other day and it was like I saw my name on the screen. I was like, oh God, I thought it was going to be like a hate video. I was like, oh gosh. And it was like my favorite influencers. My number one is McFadin. She's been posting these. It was so cute. So cute. She's like, she's been posting these like talking videos and I just like couldn't relate to her more. I'm like, okay, I need to keep it up.
People love the talking videos. I think it just like allows people to see your personality.
Yeah,
so
and the way you think.
I'm a fan. I love the talking videos. Okay, so as we can just get right into that, how much of yourself do you decide to show on, you know, whether it's Instagram, TikTok? Like, how do you decide?
Yeah, I think, again, I've been doing it for a long time. I obviously, when I had the corporate job, I wasn't sharing very much of my life, but I was also trying to hide it from the people there. But I would just try and share like office outfits or things like that and the food I was eating on the weekend. And then when I took it to full time, I was sharing a lot. And I think, you know, my sister's also a creator, so people know who she is. I've shared a lot about my dad. I've shared about boyfriends in the past, and I was in a relationship previously to my current fiance, and I shared a lot of content with him, and he was like in a lot of my content, and then we had a breakup, which ended up being like not like a public breakup, but like it was something that everyone asked me about. And I think that kind of scarred me a bit of like from sharing a lot online. I waited like 7 months to like ever share anything with my fiance, and I didn't tag him until like 2 weeks ago. And we've been together almost 4 years. Yeah, I was like, he's not getting tagged until I have a ring on my finger.
Honestly, smart, because, and I've heard a lot of my friends say the same thing where, you know, it's tough. It's tough navigating something so like personal.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even say as just like an influencer. I feel like anyone who's online, like you can have like 10,000 followers, but if you've shown your boyfriend and like he goes away, I think people are just naturally curious and they're like, what happened? And you may not want to share that in a public forum.
No, of course not. And I think also a lot of it was like not protecting him, but kind of. I mean, people are freaky online. Like, I remember I hadn't shared anything, and then there was like something where someone had found his LinkedIn, and they're like, oh, this is what he does for work. I was just like, it's just.
No, they did not.
Yeah. And like, even now that I tagged him, he's private and has posted like once, but he has gotten like the amount of like follower requests he's gotten and stuff since then. It's just crazy. But I think that time scarred me a lot from like sharing. And I think there's this part of you want to protect yourself, like, especially doing this for so long. Like, I have to protect my peace. So I think it's hard to find the line of like how much to share. And there's always like a lot of it, especially Instagram, is like you're curating this person that you are sharing. Like, it's me, but it's a curated version of me and my life. Like, I'm obviously not showing when I'm sick in bed, or like, you know, it is like somewhat of a highlight reel. And I try to share more of the like negatives or like the less exciting or glamorous parts through TikTok or YouTube or other platforms, because Instagram has always felt like this like curated platform for me. And even with this month of like showing more and having fun with it, it's exciting. But then when you get a negative comment on like something where you're showing like, this is me, this is what I think is silly, this is like, that hurts a bit more. So it's like, I think I'm still navigating like how much of it to share and how personal I want to get it. But again, like I said in the beginning, my Instagram has been my life. So I'm never going to like have content that I just made for content. Like, I do share like if I'm going to dinner, I'm sharing my outfit for dinner. So it's a tricky balance.
It is a tricky balance. And I completely understand what you're saying about like showing your personality and then like someone leaving like a mean comment and you being like, what?
Yeah.
You know, but I also feel like when you've just been on the internet, and like whether that's like through my podcast, like my personal account, or like even through Array, I always feel like, I think my evaluation of just like humans in general is that I think majority of people are actually good, but it's like mean people who have obviously gone through shit or are going through shit at that moment who are the loudest.
Yeah.
But they are not a representation of how the world sees you. You know, it's just that sometimes they're the loudest and the meanest, but I'm always like, there's something going on with you. And this is not about me. It's a you problem.
Yeah. And I'm like, as you probably know, like as a creator, anyone online, you have to let that shit roll off your back.
Totally.
If you want to be successful at this career.
And I don't even think it's just as a creator, like even just as a founder, you know, like people have strong opinions about everything.
Yeah.
Like you can be trying your ass off to do everything right, and yet someone will find something wrong. And I just feel like it's impossible to please everyone. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, no matter like whether you're, you know, an influencer or like building a business in today's age, which just inherently involves social media, like you got to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
And
100%.
You just have to find ways to cope.
Yeah. If not, like you'll get thick skin or you won't be.
You won't last.
Yeah.
You won't last. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It comes with the job. Okay. So I love how much you share and the things, like the different niches that you share. So I actually want to know your New York restaurant recommendations. And this is like part selfish, but part also because everyone else wants to know.
I think this is a good question. I was honestly saying, like, I get DMs all the time from girls like, I'm coming to New York this weekend. Like, what are your favorite foods and stuff? That question is so difficult because it depends where you're staying. New York's huge.
It is huge.
So like my top recs I'm going to tell you right now are in Williamsburg because that's where I live.
Okay.
But my very favorite restaurant that my fiance took me to the summer before we moved to Williamsburg, and we basically did a staycation in Williamsburg because he was convincing me we need to move to Williamsburg.
Wait, where did you live before that?
So I've always been in Manhattan. I lived 2 years in the East Village, 2 years in like West Village area, and then moved to Brooklyn. And my fiance, he's from England, and he's always lived in Williamsburg. Like he never had a Manhattan area except in between his lease ending and mine. He came to my apartment for like probably like 3 or 4 months before we like moved to Williamsburg. But he was like convincing me like, look, we're not staying here. He liked it for what it was, but he was like, once your lease is done, we're like going to Williamsburg. Like all of his friends are over there. I had a lot of friends moving over there. So he took me on this like staycation weekend to like convince me. And so he took me to this one restaurant called Four Horsemen. It has to do with
dying to go.
Oh, it's so good. With the like one of the guys from LCD Sound System. It's just an amazing restaurant. The vibes are immaculate. The food's amazing. The like menu's ever changing. So like I've had people go and been like, oh, I didn't like it as much. The menu changes every day. So like you could go on a day where it's better than another. But the wine, 10 out of 10. It's just like the best. And it's very hard to get a reservation, but if you show up at like 5 on a weekday, they'll tell you like 20 or 30 minutes or something.
Wait, do I go there tonight for dinner?
Yes.
It's like a Monday. Like we don't, this is the only day that I don't have a reservation. Is your husband here? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Really? Okay. You may have given me my dinner spot for tonight. This is great.
Not, I would say what I eat more than anything.
Okay.
Like from any restaurant. I probably have ordered from this place more than I've cooked in my own apartment.
Okay.
Which is jail. But Birds of a Feather. It's a Chinese restaurant in Williamsburg. But I've gone. It's like really cute if you want to go sit and eat at it. But I order it on Uber Eats. I ordered it on Saturday. At least once a week.
Okay, what's the go-to dishes?
I get the same thing every single time.
Okay.
I get the spicy cucumbers. They're incredible. And then I get Kung Pao chicken with white rice.
Oh, yum.
And it is so good. And like, it is my comfort meal. Like, I could be hungover. I could be happy. I could be sad. I could just get home from it's all that, like, when I need comfort.
It does it all.
It does it all. Like,
Love
it
that.
is my favorite meal of all. If I'm on my deathbed, I'm having Birds of a Feather.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it actually is really cute. Like, it's one of those places, it's great to order. It comes so fast and, like, fresh still.
Oh,
and also you can go sit and eat. And it's easy to get into. You don't really need a reservation.
Okay. Well, there's 2 spots. Okay. What else?
Another Uber Eats one I've been doing is Frankel's, is a bagel place I've been getting. I feel like everyone talks about New York bagels, and I actually think California has better bagels. That's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
Yeah.
Wait, what are your favorites in California?
Well, in Orange County, there's a place called Boil and Bake. And then I feel like I haven't been to some of the ones in LA, but like the open face ones with like the tomato and the onion.
What is that, Layla's Bagels?
I think one of the, like, that is my type of bagel rather than like a classic New York, like there's Thompson Square bagels. Like, that's not my vibe. Like, I like the pretty open face one with like vegetables and stuff on it. So there's one in Newport called Boil and Bake that I love, and we go every single time. And this one I've recently found it, and I've been ordering it a lot, and it's the same vibes as that. I actually didn't like Apollo that much when I had it.
I like keep seeing things about it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Everyone is obsessed with it. But I feel like there's always something in New York which everyone's obsessed with, and you know.
Yeah, like Corner Store right now. Like, I can sit here and have you ask me that and then me say Corner Store.
Okay. How does one even go there? I swear I don't know.
I went once with a friend. She got the reservation and she had a connection. And it was so good.
Well, don't tell me that, Ella. I
know.
Can't get in.
I have no idea. I think turn your Resi notifications on.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't get in. I don't know how to get in.
It's insane. I'm like, what? Like, who's doing their PR is what I want to know. I'm like, you are winning.
I know. But it's like Carbone, but I feel like Carbone you can actually get into now.
You can get into Carbone.
Yeah.
I also went to Teresi last time I was here as well, which
I actually haven't even. I went there for a brand event, which is different.
It's so good.
It's
so. But I like, thank God, I have a friend who knew someone who was lived there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she did that for me.
Wait, where are you guys staying? Let me try and think of one of our favorites around.
Soho Grand. I'm like 5 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So anywhere in Soho, NoHo, like...
Yeah, not my favorite places to eat. I feel like they're all like overly hyped. I mean, I went to Lure Fish Bar the other day. It's just like a classic.
Yeah.
When I come into the city, I want the stuff I can't get over. Like, I'll literally go to like Joe and the Juice for the sandwich.
Honestly,
that I love.
yeah.
It's so good. Or I go to Kazu Nori. Have you had Kazu?
Yeah.
I mean, you have it in LA.
Yeah, we have it in LA. But yeah, I mean, listen, I need to make my way down to Williamsburg because I feel like
it's close.
I know, but you know, it just feels so far in my brain. And my brother, swear to God, every time he calls me, this is like, he like makes fun of me because he's like, why don't you just go? It's going to be 10 minutes. Like, it is not that far. And I'm like, no, but you're just like, it feels
Does he live
like
over there?
No, he lives in Toronto, but he comes to New York a lot. And like, anytime he comes, he'll like go all over. And I'm just like in this like little bubble of mine. And he's like, you're such a loser. And I'm like, I know
but you're coming here for work. You like kind of need to be in this area. I feel like it makes your life easier.
Yeah.
But Williamsburg is like the neighbor. Like, I feel like I'm in South Williamsburg, which is a lot less crowded, at least right now. I think it's gonna get more crowded, but less crowded than North Williamsburg, and it really does feel like a little neighborhood. Like I go to my coffee shop and I like see the same people, where it's like, Soho, you're not gonna feel like that.
No.
And a lot of other West Village maybe, but like I really feel it. And like I took Diner is another one. I took my friend to Diner on Friday. It is such a cute spot in Williamsburg. And we were leaving and going to a bar to meet some friends, and we were walking. I saw this older guy with a French bulldog. I'm like, oh, hi Gizmo. And she was like, Ella, that was like the cutest thing ever. Like, how do you know that, man? I'm like, because we both have dogs and we live in Williamsburg. Like,
that's really cute.
Yeah,
it like, I guess makes New York feel like a smaller,
Definitely.
like a small city versus like New York.
Like I feel like in a community, whereas like I haven't felt like that any other place in New York. Like, no.
That's really nice.
It is.
What about bars? Any favorites?
I mean, we only go to the ones that are by us.
Okay, fair.
Layla is a bar that we go to that they probably are annoyed with how much we go there. We're the reason they're in business. No, they're actually like really cute and the food's amazing. But Layla with others, and Sauced is like one I used to go to. I don't go to that much anymore, but they're South Williamsburg ones that we love.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so you moved to New York, and so I want to know, what are your best tips for meeting friends in a new city?
So actually, this is a good one because I graduated a semester early, so I moved to New York like completely alone. And I said I was moving here because my sister got into NYU, but she was got in for the fall. So I was moving here way before she was here. And I really didn't have any friends here. And any friends that were going to come to New York weren't going to come for another semester. So I was like, I need girlfriends.
Yeah,
like, I need girlfriends. And 3 girls I met very random ways are still my best friends, and they're all coming to my wedding. So the first one I met in the office at Gucci, and like we like connected immediately, but it wasn't a place to make friends. So we would like kind of smile at each other and walk by each other in the office in the beginning, and we ended up becoming really good friends. She's in high fashion still, but she's from Miami, and we just like clicked and hit it off. And then the next friend I made, I followed her on TikTok, but she's not an influencer or a creator. But in 2020, one of her like fun like weekend in New York videos came up, like just like fun clips, and I followed her and was like, this girl seems really cool. She like followed me back and like ended up messaging me a couple months later when we were both back in New York and like things were reopening, and we went and got a drink together. And then later her boyfriend came and we all like went out together, and she's like now one of my really good friends. And then another friend of mine, I went to a pregame with my ex-boyfriend, and she came up to me at the pregame and just started talking to me. It was so sweet. She's Australian, and after we broke up, she reached out and was like I want to be your friend. I want to get you in the divorce. I was like, yeah. And now she's like one of my best friends ever. She's doing my makeup for my wedding.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's so nice. I think I have a lot of friends. I mean, Orange County is a bubble. And I have a lot of friends who haven't left Orange County or like don't even like leave California ever. And it's crazy because like I'm like, it makes me sad sometimes that they won't have these experiences of like meeting people from like all over the world. And like these close friends have like changed me as a person.
I think adult friendships and having the ability to make adult friendships, number one, it's like so special because those are friends that you make not because of your circumstances, but like you actively choose them because of aligned values. So I think that there's just something so special about having those friendships. And number two, I'm a big proponent of moving like in your life. I don't think for me, I'm the same. I grew up moving. I like moved, you know, for college, then after college, and I've moved like a number of times. I feel like it makes you a very confident, independent person.
100%.
Because you're forced to go speak to people, and like you can throw me in any situation and I'll like go speak to someone. I don't care.
Yeah.
So
no, same. I think, and it's honestly, that's something I like am still working on. I admire my fiance. He's very, very good at just like walking up to anyone and like starting a conversation. Not that he's like always doing that, but it's something like you're even picking up the phone to like ask a question. Sometimes it's like I get anxiety. I'm like, you just do it. Like, I don't want to do it. And like this year I was like, I'm going to things alone and I'm walking up to people and introducing myself. I'm talking about my brand. I'm just like taking confidence to another level this year with myself.
Fuck yeah. I love that for you. But honestly, I do think that like of course it's in degrees for sure, but I think like what you're saying about people who you know who've like never really left your hometown, I think when you move to a city, and especially like New York is a tough city to move to. It's not some like quiet little rinky-dink town, you know? So like making it here and making friends, I feel like it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
So
no, and people say New York is a very isolating and lonely city. And I think sometimes because there are so many people, it can feel like that, especially when you just move here. I think people really have a hard time if they move here in like 6 months and they're like, why'd I do this? I think to make friends in New York, you have to be putting yourself out there. You need to be going to things. You need to go to Pilates by yourself. You need to go out to lunch by yourself. You need to like go to the places that you like and then meet people at those places. And like make friends that way, I think. And like not be afraid to go up to someone, DM someone if you like follow each other on Instagram. I have the girl who's worked on Skin by Ella with me for 3.5 years, who's like one of my now dearest friends and hopefully is going to be my first full-time employee soon. She messaged me on Instagram and then sent me an email and we got coffee and it turned into this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think you have to put yourself out there. And also, I think people put way too much pressure on themselves to have a new place feel like home in like no time at all. I'm like, 6 months.
Yeah.
You've lived somewhere your whole damn life. Like, how are you supposed to move somewhere and in 6 months have your entire life figured out? Like, I feel like you don't really get to lay down roots for at least a year.
Yeah. Oh.
At least.
I still say I'm going home when I'm going to California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in LA for like, almost 3 years now. And like, it started to feel like home, I would say like year 1. But like year 2 was when I was like, okay, like I actually have like really good friends now, you know? And like, it takes time. Like you don't just show up somewhere and it's the same as your hometown. It's not possible. So
especially if you're looking for like a whole new group of friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think people put way too much pressure, but it is possible. It's like, I think the thing that like you have to put yourself out there and give yourself time.
Yeah. Give yourself time. And yeah, I think don't be afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, most people are nice.
Yeah.
Like who's not
also,
nice?
yeah, people say New Yorkers are nice. New Yorkers are the nicest people ever.
I agree. I think, you know what? I am a firm believer of the fact that I think you get whatever energy you put out into the world. Like, I also hear, like, I've been going to Paris like my whole life, okay? And everyone's like, no, but they're so mean. And I'm like, not once have I had a bad experience there. Like, I feel like I like, you know, get in and I try to speak French. It's broken, but I think they appreciate it.
That's where you're doing it right.
Yeah. And like people are like it's fine. Like they're nice, you know? And so I don't know, like even New York, I felt the same way. I'm like, no, people are like nice here. Like I've never had a bad experience.
I think people are nice. They just don't have, everyone's like moving on with their day. They're not going to sit and chit chat.
Yeah.
Whereas
like, it's not like Texas.
Yeah.
Like I went to Austin and I was like, I'm Canadian and this is a whole different level. Like you guys are like, you will like sit here and tell me where to go and I'm like a brand new stranger.
Yeah.
You know, like they're just like, it's a different vibe.
Yeah.
So, you know, but yes, I agree with you. I think people are nice. They're just like, it's a different energy. Like people move at a different pace. Okay. So I want to leave some time for audience questions.
Oh.
Yeah. So we had, actually it's interesting. We got a lot of dating questions.
Okay.
Dating, wedding.
Wait, where do you get the audience questions from?
Instagram.
Okay, Instagram.
Because I like asked people to send in questions for you. So the first one is, can you share your dating tips?
Oh, I don't know if I'm a good person to ask. I mean, I would say have fun with it. Okay, actually, I think I do have some good advice. Stop listening to social media. I mean, I guess this is a form of social media, but I think people put so much pressure on the guy to be like this perfect guy on the first date. And I think I wasn't looking for a relationship when I found my now fiance. We were not serious for like the first couple of months. And we both weren't looking to be serious. I was going on dates simply to meet people, to have fun, to get myself back out there and like just enjoy myself. I was not looking for like my partner. And I think obviously that's when you like typically find it, is when you're not looking for it. But I didn't put so much pressure on finding the one that I think it helped me a lot in like taking that out. So I wasn't being so serious on these dates. I was like, look, I'm just here to have a good time, have a meal, and make it fun. So I think take away the pressure of like, it has to be this perfect first date. Like James, my fiance, he was not perfect on the first date. I wasn't perfect on the first date. The second one was better. Like, I think there's a lot of pressure. I think if you can take the pressure off of yourself and the person you're going on the date with, you'll be a lot more open-minded.
I couldn't agree with you more. Same thing with my husband and I. Like, when we got together, there was literally, like, seriousness was not even a thing. And I think because we were, like, just having fun, it just evolved into that because we were having such a good time together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves, and it takes time to get to know someone, and it takes time to, like, understand if, like, you're right for them and they're right for you.
Yes.
You know, I think that comes out later.
100%. And I think my past relationships, which I was a lot younger in, like, college relationships, like, they happened really quickly, and, like, that isn't the most mature way to do a relationship. I think I needed to be in a relationship that was going to take time, and we were going to make sure this was the right fit before saying, like, this is my new boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, the first serious thing he said was, like, 2 or 3 months in, he's like, so we're going to start spending all of our weekends together? And I was like, yeah, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, we're anything. That was, like, our next step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, though. I think it's, like, really sage advice. Okay. What is one beauty product that you can't live without?
Eyebrow gel.
Ooh.
The eyebrow gel. I just, like, look at my face sometimes in the morning. I'm like, wow, it looks like sunk. Like, it looks like it's, like, melting off. And then I put my eyebrows in place and it's immediately lifted.
I couldn't agree more with you. And this is so funny because we were talking about, like, mean comments. So for the longest time, I have thick brows, and I'm
amazing brows.
I have gel on, but, like, just gel. But, like, normally, like, my brows never really bothered me, so I was never, like, bothered with the gel thing. And then people on TikTok would be like, you have really good brows, but can you just start using brow gel? Like, your brows are bothering me. It was, like, comments like this over and over again. So anyway, one of my friends released a brow gel, and so she sent it to me, just, like, 2 separate things. And so I was like, I'll use the fucking brow gel one day, because I was like, you know, like, I want to support her brand. And I was like, holy crap, I look like I got a facelift.
Yeah.
What the heck?
No, brow gel's everything. Also, the clear brow gel is, like, the best. It's so funny. I've seen other creators say, like, thank you, TikTok, for, like, helping me realize.
No, I'm like, my haters.
Yeah,
my haters, they
have your best interest.
Okay. How do you prioritize friendships while in a relationship?
I think it's hard. It's actually something I spoke recently to James about, because I feel like I'm not as social as I once was, and I'm not really in, like, I have a lot of close friends. Not a lot. I have people who are really close to me, but they're all, like, one-off friendships. Like, it's not like a big girl group and we're in, like, some group chat together. I'm not in any group chats. I have a rule. I don't, like, do group chats. I hate group chats. I just hate my phone buzzing like that.
Yeah.
But you really have to put in the effort when it's a one-off friendship and not a big group of things of, like, other people making plans for you. So I think I do go out of my way to try and make plans one-off. And if someone's texting me to, like, make a plan, I make sure, you know, to put in that effort and not be flaky. And I think that's super important. I think when you're become so busy with work and your partner and doing all of these things, and your friend is putting in an effort and you're not giving it back, that's going to be really hurtful.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, like, I think it does take effort, and I think it's something that I realized over time because, you know, like, when my career was taking off, like, even pre-Array, like, when I was just, like, hustling, right? I feel like I neglected my friendships a lot, and thankfully, like, I learned pretty quickly. Like, within a couple of years, I was like, wait, what am I doing here? Like, all I do is work, and this is stupid.
Yeah.
And so you do have to put in the effort, but I think it makes it worth it because, you know, I think also having a life beyond work or a relationship is really important.
So important.
It, like, enriches you.
Yeah. And if things go wrong in your relationship or your business, like, you need those people that are going to be there for you and support you. Yeah, I think, you know, girlfriends are, like, the best thing ever. I think you need to put in that effort. There's a lot of times where, like, I'm so busy, I don't want to go to dinner. I'm so busy. And I think you don't have to do everything. Like, you don't have to be going to, like, every event or something, but, like, doing those, like, one-off, once a month, like, lunches or dinners, and, like, you know, at least texting them and checking in with them. It's really important.
Yeah, I've also, even though like a lot of like in LA, a lot of my friends maybe in different friends groups, but like I've just started to bring a few of them together where I'm like, you guys will all get along.
Yeah.
Like I just know. So just come over for dinner or like let's go somewhere.
Yeah.
And then like they end up becoming friends too. So I feel like this is great.
Yeah. No, I've done that a lot recently, and always like if I have like an event for work, or like I have this partnership with Guinness, and that I'd like have little events with them, and I'm like always invite like everyone from like my fiance's friends to my friends to my sister, like all of it, and they all come together, and like everyone usually has the best time ever.
No, really.
And leaves having friends, and then they hang out.
It's the best.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's like it's the cutest thing to see. So I love that. Okay, last question. Can you share any wedding planning tips?
Oh my gosh, I think I should be asking for them, but I'm super organized. I'm very, very type A. I would say like make a Google sheet for literally everything. I mean, obviously, I think the most important things to like get your feet off the ground with the wedding planning is making a list with your partner of who you want there, deciding on a location and then a venue, and then getting your dress as a girl. And the other stuff can kind of come after, but we've done all of those things. We're on to like save the dates and invites right now, kind of planning all of that. And also deciding if you want a planner or you want to do it yourself. I am doing a lot of it myself. I think I know design-wise what I really want. And then I'm having people support like executing it. I mean, we're getting married in France, so I'm not there able to like source furniture or different vendors. So I have people helping with that, but I was very ready to like cut the cost there and do that work myself than hire someone.
That's, I mean, yeah, it's great advice.
But yeah, weddings are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing.
Yeah. But it's something that I was never someone who never wanted to get married, but my parents had a very traumatizing divorce. And my dad always said, like, don't ever get married, which is so funny because he's engaged right now and he's getting married this year too. So we're getting married the same year after you told me to never, ever, ever get married.
That's
I'm like,
so
you
funny.
told me all this. He's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have told you that. I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have told me that. But I was never someone who was like super excited about it. And now that my time has come, like, I'm so excited. Like, this is going to be the best day ever. Like, I mean, his friends, a lot of them are in England and then mine are in California. They will probably meet this one time and never meet again. Like, it is the one day where our closest people get to like hang out. So I'm really excited for it.
Oh, you're going to have the best time.
It's going to be the best weekend ever. We just went and like looked at locations, and because it's far, it's like you have to fly to Paris and then an hour flight somewhere else. We're doing like a welcome party and like a recovery and stuff. I'm like, it's going to be the best weekend of my whole life. Oh, I'm so excited.
You're going to have the best time. Also, your engagement party looked stunning. I loved the dress you wore.
Thank you.
Gorge.
That was like fun to plan. That gave me a little like teaser. I say like, if you're a bride, do it all. Like, I watched other creators who've had weddings saying like, do it all. This is the one time you can, like, don't look back and like regret not doing something. Like, planning that engagement party gave me a little taste of what wedding planning's like, and seeing it come to life, and at least all of our New York friends crossover was really exciting.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, you know what? Listen, when else is it your day?
Yeah.
Which is why I'm also like, when people are like, oh, it's my birthday, but I don't want to do anything. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's your day.
Do something, even if it's small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
or whatever you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love that. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay, I'm on Instagram, new handle, Ella Rose McFadin. TikTok is Ella McFadin. YouTube is Ella McFadin. And you can go to skinbyella.com to shop our everyday essentials.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. This was so fun.
So fun.